Hi, everyone. Hope you're doing well. I have a very special guest with me here today, Catherine Coley, who's the CEO of Binance US. Catherine, great to have you on the show.
Great to be here. Thanks so much.
Catherine, exciting things happening with Binance US. And before we get into the details of all that, I think folks would be interested in your background because you came from the traditional financial markets, Silicon Valley, a bank, Morgan Stanley, and then you moved to Ripple and then over to Binance. So why did you make the transition over from the traditional to crypto?
Yeah, there are a couple of reasons why I even started out in the traditional world, especially in the FX markets. I really wanted to learn the fundamentals of how the world worked, how the largest amounts of money were moved around the world. And I got such a great view from it from the front lines at Morgan Stanley, being able to observe how these new markets, which at the time were, Asian markets, understanding how they were growing and accommodating and the flow and the growth patterns. And then from there, I was able to see that there was something new that was coming, and that was technology. So we were in the midst of seeing kind of the final chapters from voice broking over to electronic trading. And I could kind of tell ahead of time that this world was going to be taken over by computers. And I love when I see that wave of new technology taking over, and I want to be ahead of it, not behind it. And so certainly I saw that leap of what can we do next in terms of getting in front of the next wave of where markets were growing. And that certainly was in crypto.
Awesome. And at Ripple, you were head of XRP institutional liquidity. Sounds like you did some great work there. And I'm going to preface this question by saying this is not financial or investment advice, but folks, saw that you moved from Ripple and they're curious, are you still bullish on XRP?
We had a great team at Ripple, and the team is still intact there, and they've brought even more muscle over. So now at the helm is Brianne Madigan. I think so highly of her. She's leading a great team out there. And so certainly the work that they're working on, making sure that we can move money quickly across borders, is something that is a use case I really still feel quite strongly about. And the technology that's been built, and they're continuing to build on top of it. I think that they're they're in great hands.
Awesome. And any potential of Binance US becoming a Ripple ODL partner?
Well, I certainly saw that when I was working at XRP or working on XRP liquidity. Infrastructure was a frustrating part for us, and that was kind of one of those key elements that was missing from the ability for, at that time, XRapid, now ODL, to really take place. So, having built Binance US, we were building an easy fiat on ramp, allowing people to get low fees for exchanging dollars into the currency of their choice, with the ease of being able to connect to other larger geographically placed exchanges. I think it's a perfect match, but we'll see what they have to say.
Awesome. So on that note of Binance US and all the great things you guys have been doing, folks were curious about the relationship with BAM Trading Services and what that whole setup looks like.
Right. I'll clarify a little bit with you. BAM Trading Services does business as Binance US. So it's really just a legal entity name that's the differentiating factor between that. So don't get too conspiracy theorist on it. Our front door says BAM Trading Services, as do some of our other legal forms, but we're also Binance US.
Cool. And I've personally signed up for Binance US, I think about a month ago. I was, of course, at Binance. I still am at Binance.com, have a membership on there. But getting, trading services in the US has been great. And you guys have been adding a lot of different cryptos and services. Like today, we got news about the Chainlink edition. So I'm curious about your expansion across the US, because some folks have been asking, hey, when Texas, when Florida, when New York? Maybe you can shed some light on that.
Yeah, so when we first launched back in September, we started out with just about 7 coins and no app. And so since then, we've gotten an app on board. We've gotten the ability to list over 30 coins. We've got over 50 trading pairs. We've really kind of ramped up and continue to ramp up the feature sets that we allow for folks. One of the things that we also oftentimes get kind of the feedback on is we don't need those features. We need more access in more states. And I have to say that those things are parallel and running and working in progress. So the state-by-state licenses required to do business as a crypto-to-crypto company, and then even a fiat-to-crypto company called money transmission licenses. And those are required at a state-by-state level. So we've gone through and are continuing to apply to get those licenses, and they do take time, and they are specific to each state. So bear with us, but we have that kind of always working in the background, as well as adding new features, things like the one-click buy sell, things like a new referral program. So we can multitask. Don't forget that, folks. You might think we're working on one thing and one thing only. Do not sweat it. We have multiple things working on.
Awesome. Yeah, and I totally understand. Each state has their own law and rules and regulations. So we're in New York with their bit license. I know that can take a while. So it sounds like you guys are on track and you're making progress. So they should be there soon enough.
Right. So we're very aware. I mean, I think it personally affects me. The states where I grew up, the states where I was educated, the states where my family lives, can't partake in the product that I'm building. So I can't even have my own cheerleading squad help me out here. So it's been great to be able to offer our services in states that really do matter. But we are very well aware of the states that have been left out for now. So don't worry. By the time you get the product, it'll be night and day to what was launched early on. So awesome. I'm excited for you to get the fully grown version. Yeah.
Awesome. And on the note of VeChain, there's a lot of VeChain holders and they're curious about VeTHOR and getting that set up on Binance US as is on Binance.com. Any updates on when that might be coming?
Yeah, that's one of the items that we hear a lot in our feedback from the community and one that we really need to take in consideration. So considering to think about how we can be building that out, what other elements might be more important or might be just easier to build and can get out to market faster. So it's certainly something we think about. Also have to manage the concept of liquidity for it. Sure. If it's going to be one that's going to be an actively traded element or actively useful product to release. So it's in the works.
Awesome. And folks are asking, what are some new altcoins we might see soon, as well as fiat pairs? Now, I know you may not be able to disclose all of that, but any hints, anything you can share with us?
Yeah, I can't say exactly what we're going to be listing out, but I can say that we have launched recently our proof of stake coins now being able to go through staking. So that's an important feature set that we can now offer to folks. And we take in mind that staking is something people do want to actively partake in. So whether you've got a proof of stake coin out there or one that we can possibly list, it certainly is looking to be more attractive to more users than just the other coins out there. So we kind of take that in consideration, but we also think about, what is it that the U.S. really wants from its market? What other coins are specific to the U.S. or ones where the U.S. has not had access to prior? And so we factor those into a digital asset risk assessment framework that we review each coin to make sure we're comfortable with listing it in the United States and it's vital for our U.S. market.
Totally makes sense. Now, a big topic that concerns everyone in the crypto sphere is crypto regulations. We've seen Steve Mnuchin, Secretary of U.S. Treasury, talk about it. Donald Trump, our president, has tweeted about it and different things happening, but it's still moving very slow. Given that your position, being a CEO of an exchange, what is your outlook on that? Maybe you can take us behind the curtain if you know of anything. Could we potentially see crypto regulations this year?
I think we're going to continually see crypto regulations improve. Even, I have a strong rule within our company of a 1% improvement every day. So I think they have the same kind of concepts. So, trying to make sure that we're moving the needle, albeit carefully. We've seen such a growth and development from the regulators since the beginning of the U.S. exchanges coming into place. I mean, even our state-by-state licenses, this isn't the first time they're seeing a marketplace business application coming through their door. So with that, guidelines are being written. We're seeing pushes from Hester Pierce to come forward with a more friendly crypto regulation. And we continue to see this majority, if anything, become more mainstream.
Absolutely. So that's great to hear. I'm always like, I wish it would move faster, but we got to be patient, and at least the dialogue's happening and they're talking about it.
The right dialogue's happening. Yeah. I'm excited coming out in DC next week or so with the Chamber of Digital Commerce. Pushing the agenda forward one step at a time is really important for the whole industry.
Awesome. And I'll preface this question, not financial or investment advice, but what's your personal outlook on the market? Certainly, being a CEO of a crypto exchange, you're going to be optimistic and bullish. But where do you see the market in the next 3 to 5 years? And not price predictions, but growth and infrastructure and who else is coming in and that type of thing.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to realize that short-term gains might be some people's idea, but pivoting my entire career, my 24-hour cycle of efforts that I can provide to the world, and the team that I'm building, I wouldn't be here if I didn't see a long-term growth opportunity here. So we were, eagerly excited every day to come and build something that users really need, really want in the US. And I think that's something that is not going to be an overnight success at all. It's something we've got to continually work on and migrate more users, more use cases, and more features to be able to provide kind of the home for digital assets in America. So I'm here for the long haul.
Awesome. And finally, what else could we expect from Binance in 2020? Once again, any hints you can give us, and it would be really great. I think, folks recognize the brand and recognize the quality of service you guys provide. So we're just curious, what new features and things that may be coming later this year.
Yeah, you saw kind of our initial focus on the mobile application. I think you're going to continue to see that build out, become more intuitive in the way that you're going to be using it. So whether that makes it, easier to access your balances, easier to access staking, easier to access one-click buy sell, those features that really make it, not even difficult to go and enter these crypto markets is what you're going to be able to see. And we want that feedback from you as well. So whether something makes it a more burdensome process, we're keenly adjusting things, because by the end of 2020, I want it to be a no-brainer that you have access, and you have the best access to these markets through Binance US.
Awesome. Catherine, a lot of great information. Pleasure chatting with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.